This program provides education, not advice. Sponsors pay a fee for endorsements and interviews. See the truthayf.com disclosure page for details.
This is where technology, innovation, and personal finance come together.
This is the truth about your future with Rick Edelman.
It's Monday, March 11th. On today's show, the incredible shrinking house. Go ahead. Find a house you can afford if you're young and not making all that much money. You know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to move way out there. I don't mean into the suburbs. I mean into another state maybe. I know someone in their 30s who's buying his first house, currently rents in Rockville, Maryland, a suburb of Washington, D.C. Not only can't he afford to buy a place in D.C., he can't afford to buy a place in Rockville either, 20 miles away from D.C. So he found a house he could afford to buy in West Virginia. He'll have a commute that's more than 2 hours each way every day. So yeah, moving very far away where land is cheaper is certainly one way you can find a house you can afford. But there's another way too. You can buy an apartment instead. Apartments are usually smaller than single-family homes, but we all know that a lot of apartments are pretty darn expensive depending on their size and location and amenities. And besides, with an apartment, you don't get a backyard for the kids and the dog. Or you can buy a smaller house because the cost of houses is directly tied to the size of the house and the lot. The smaller the footprint, the fewer square feet of the house, the less it'll cost, no matter where it is. So exactly how small a house are you willing to live in? The house I grew up in was about 2,400 square feet. It was a split level with 4 bedrooms built in 1957 in what was then a new suburban community in South Jersey. It was filled with people who grew up in Philly. My parents. And today, the size of my parents' house, 2,400 square feet, is still the size of the average new home construction in the United States. The problem with affordability is not that houses have gotten bigger and therefore more expensive. It's that houses have simply gotten more expensive without getting bigger. My parents bought their house in 1957 for $19,000. And my dad got a 3% VA loan for 30 years. His mortgage payment was about $80 a month. And he was still paying that $80 a month when I went to college 20 years later in 1976. Today, Zillow says that house, yeah, it's still there, is worth $527,000. A monthly payment today would be $2,500 a month. And that's assuming you make a down payment of 10% of $53,000. How many people in their early 30s do you know could pull off that transaction? $53,000 in cash for a house worth $500,000? Not very many young people could do that, and that's the problem. So guess how builders are now trying to make their houses more affordable? They're making them smaller. I mean small. Welcome to the world of tiny houses. 400 square feet. A 20 by 20 foot house attached to a 20 by 20 foot garage. These things are popping up all over the country. The typical price, $145,000. Who do they appeal to? I'll tell you that in 30 seconds.
The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman is brought to you by Schwab. With Schwab investing themes, it's easy to invest in ideas you believe in, like online music and videos, artificial intelligence, electric vehicles, and more. Schwab's research process uncovers emerging trends. Then their technology curates relevant stocks into themes. Choose from over 40 themes. Buy all the stocks in a theme as is, or customized to better fit your investing goals, all in a few clicks. Schwab Investing Themes is not intended to be investment advice or a recommendation of any stock or investment strategy. Learn more at schwab.com/thematic investing.
Who would want to buy a house that's 400 square feet? Well, how about divorced people or widows, empty nesters, young couples? These houses are going up on smaller lots too. Instead of a backyard, there's a side yard. You get a kitchen bar instead of a dining room. Is this really the shape of housing for the future? A home that's not much bigger than your dorm room was? Is this the American dream? When your kids ask you for help buying their first house, or, hey, for you financial advisors, when your clients tell you that they want to help their kids buy their first house, is suggesting that they live in a 400 square foot house something you'd mention? I guess we have to. The idea might be quickly dismissed, or it might be genuinely considered. And if it is, remember this. Some builders will put that 400 or 500 square foot house anywhere you want, like in mom or dad's backyard. Land is one of the biggest parts of the cost of homes, so if you use land you already have, you really knock down the cost. My point is that we can't assume that we're going to do things in the future the way we did them in the past. What worked for you when you bought your first house, what worked for my dad when he bought his in 1957, isn't necessarily going to work for your kids or your clients' kids today. So be willing to think imaginatively and consider all options, slowly, carefully, and thoughtfully. You just might decide that where you live in the future isn't in a place that in the past you ever would have imagined. On tomorrow's show, crypto taxation.
How should you think about Bitcoin? Turn to a specialist. For 6 years, Bitwise has been helping investors access crypto. Bitwise manages the world's largest crypto index fund. They also offer 6 crypto ETFs. You get cutting-edge insights, expert Bitcoin research, and a nationwide team to help. Bitwise helps investors and advisors navigate crypto with confidence. Partner with a specialist. Look for ETFs backed by Bitwise. BitwiseInvestments.com. Carefully consider the extreme risks associated with crypto before investing.
Bringing clarity to a complex and changing world.
This is The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman.